Welcomes, please, to BitFenix. My name is David, and today we're going to take a little bit of a closer look at our Prodigy chassis, which we launched very recently, and we've seen a lot of forum discussions about can I install this, can I install that, how to do it, and so on. So that's exactly what we're gonna dive into today, and I'm gonna show you just how it's done. Now, probably the biggest concern and the most frequently asked question about the Prodigy so far has been about the size of power supplies. Which one can I put inside? Which one fits in this power supply cage? The cage is 180 millimeters deep. That's why we have spec'd it, rather said that maximum power supply length should be 160 millimeters. I have three quite popular 160 millimeter long power supplies here. There are three types. We have a non-modular, a semi-modular, and a fully modular power supply. And now I'm going to show you how to install these guys. Now, the very first thing you need to do when installing your power supply is to put on the PSU backplate here. It's this white thing here. It's white because today we're using a white Prodigy. And today we have a, this is the non-modular power supply. It's 160 millimeters long. It's a BeQuiet straight power, 500 watts I believe. And what we strongly suggest you to do is to pull all the cables first. Do pretty much all your cable management before you even install the power supply. You're going to avoid a lot of headaches that way, because it is a small space to work in. But this way it becomes much more straightforward. So what have I done here? Well, peripheral connectors for, this is actually SATA power for your hard drives. Got the big 24 pin here for the motherboard and the 8 pin for the CPU. On the other side I have also pulled through these blue ones here. That's for your graphics card power. And some other cables that I won't be needing. I put them on the side here for now until everything is installed, and then I'm gonna hide them away. So you pull your cables first, and then after that is done, you push the power supply in like so and screw it in with the included thumb screws. And there you go. That's how you do it with a non-modular power supply. So here we have the second power supply for today. It's still from BeQuiet, straight power, and this time it's the semi-modular one. As you can see, we have already done our pre-cable management. Everything is going, all the cables are going through the correct holes, and now all you have left to do is push the power supply in. And since this is semi-modular, it starts getting a little bit tight, but let the cables bend, all the connectors are fine. Put the thumb screws on, and you're good to go to the next step. Now, last but not least, we're gonna take a look at the fully modular power supply. This time around it's an AX750 from C brand. 650, 750 and 850, they're all the same size, so they're all gonna work out in the same way. Again, we pull the cables separately where we want them roughly, and of course you can also use the holes on top of the motherboard tray. And just like before, you push it in to bend the cables a little bit, because with fully modular power supplies you start getting a little bit tight on the space inside, but it works fine. All the connectors are fine and cables are where they are supposed to be. So with power supplies out of the way, let's take a look at how to install first a motherboard with a very tall CPU cooler and graphics cards. And for that we're gonna use this ASUS Z77 Mini-ITX board. We put on a Megahalem cooler, which is 160 millimeters tall, and we got some awesome memories from our friends at Geil here, and also a nice 7970 graphics card from PowerColor. Okay, let's take a little bit of a closer look at motherboards. One thing obviously with Mini-ITX motherboards are that they are very small, so when you move into performance territory, it's getting very packed on the PCB here. So a couple of things to consider. We recommend installing the RAM first, because after you put in a graphics card, it's going to be so tight you won't even be able to open these clips on the RAM slots. Now, it really depends on the motherboard you get. With this Z77 motherboard from ASUS, we're lucky. The CPU socket location is perfect and fits very nicely in the Prodigy, and you can put a very tall cooler here. But even with this one, you probably have to do a little bit of a compromise, as you see very tall heat sinks on this memory here. So if you want to put a push together with a pull or only a push fan, you see it can't actually be all the way down here, it has to be a little bit higher up. That works fine though, because the Megahalem comes with pretty good clips, so you can modify the height of the fans. And then I'd put the pull fan straight, you know, flush with the cooling fins and all that. So do your homework, buy the best motherboard for the rest of the hardware that you want to put in, match it well to the CPU cooler, make sure that you have enough clearance for everything. But hey, let's put this baby in. 160mm cooler, and it's pretty much as tall as they get. And in Prodigy, with 160mm, you can actually just put it in pretty easily after you remove this cage here. You can put that back later, but this helps. Now you can just kind of move it in slowly here, put it in position, screw it on, and install the rest of the components. Alrighty, let's install this beast of a graphics card here. One thing I forgot to mention about CPU cooler height, we say 160mm maximum CPU cooler height, that's to get the whole thing in there, but there's actually more space. You could have this Megahalem and still put a top fan on top, no problem. Now about graphics cards, the maximum length, like the entire length of the case, would be 34 centimeters. The depth from the PCI holes here to the hard drive cage would be 18 centimeters. So if you find a shorter graphics card, kind of like the Zotac, I think they have a GTX 670 that is less than 17. That one would still fit in here and you don't have to remove any hard drive cages. But we got this beast from PowerColor here, 7990 Vortex II 7970. Still cool though. So today we have to remove the center, the middle hard drive cage here. The next thing you gotta do is lift up this kind of PCI holder so that you get a hole to, you know, wiggle the card in. And yeah, pretty straightforward. Position it like so over the slot, push, there you go, and push this holder back down and more thumb screws so it gets really solid. And yeah, there you go, beast of a graphics card inside our little Prodigy. Alright, I just want to finish this off with a quick recap about the water cooling potential in the Prodigy. If you want to install any radiator really in Prodigy, what you gotta do is you gotta remove the ODD cage from there, also called a 5.25 inch cage. It's all attached with screws, so you just unscrew the thing and take it out. This way you still have two full-size hard drives here, and you can install a really fat radiator up top here. Here's my trusty old black guys. It's a GTX 240. With just one set of fans, it would be this deep, but you see how much room you have here. You could actually do one of these beasts in push-pull, no problem. Now, there has been a little bit of confusion, I think, about the front radiator support. What you gotta do to install a radiator in the front, first, of course, remove the ODD cage again, and The lower hard drive cage also needs to be removed. You take it out by unscrewing these screws on the bottom here, also by attached with screws. Now, where are the screw holes for the front radiator? Well, actually, the top screw holes are on the ODD plate. This one can be replaced if you take it off and run a burner or a Blu-ray drive for a while, and then decide that you want to do a radiator in the front and maybe a dual radiator in the front and a single in the back. We have one loop each for CPU and graphics card. There's little brackets in the accessory bag, so you can put this metal plate back. You're gonna need these two top screw holes. And yeah, there you have it. That's water cooling support for the Prodigy. Here you have it, boys and girls. Everything is installed now in our Prodigy, and as you can see, this is your DIY playground. There's a lot you can do. I have to thank our partners for all your great support. Thanks a bunch to BeQuiet for the power supplies. They gave us a couple actually. We're gonna use them for further testing. Thanks a lot to PowerColor for this really nice graphics cards. The Vortex II HD 7970. Thanks to PowerColor for that. Also, big up to the guys at Prolimatech for the Megahalem cooler here. Thanks a lot to Geil. You guys are awesome. You always support us with memory products. Good stuff. And finally, ASUS. Great motherboard you made this time. This Mini-ITX Z77 is probably the king of Mini-ITX motherboards so far. Finally, last but definitely not least, thank you so much to all the guys in the community, all the guys in the forums. We love to read your comments, good or bad. It helps us learn and make better products next time. So really appreciate your feedback. Please keep it coming. Check in our usual news channels, bitfenix.com, our Twitter page, our Facebook page, and so on. Thank you very much for watching. My name is David. BitFenix out.